Hey, what's up? This is Joe. This video is going to show you a couple of mods I did to make my NC750X a lot more comfortable for touring. Hopefully this video will provide some tips to anyone looking to make their NC750X more comfortable, and if not, hopefully at least you get some entertainment value out of it. Just to let y'all know, I'll be working the Smoky Mountain Bike Week with Memphis Shades outside the Harley shop in Maryville, so please stop by if you happen to be in the area. Otherwise, enjoy the show. With 42,000 miles on the odometer, I still love my NC750X, but my biggest gripe has been the seating position. In spite of the 1-inch risers I installed after I got the bike, I still found myself leaning forward to reach the handlebars, which was putting an undue amount of stress on my shoulders. Additionally, I found the position of the foot pegs awkward on long trips as they put my knees at an uncomfortable angle. When I got back home to Virginia, I got to work seeing what I could do about it. I'm going to install these pullback risers. Hopefully this will make a difference and get my my grip position further back a little bit, and hopefully take some of the pressure off of my shoulders. Right now I've got a set of 1-inch straight up and down risers on there, and as is the brake line's a little bit tight, the clutch cable's a little tight, and I'm starting to run out of wire. So I know I can get those risers on there, but how far back I can lean them, we'll just have to see. The first order of business was loosening the bolts, then finding an extra set of hands.
This was on my bucket list, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you always wanted to do, huh?
Yeah.
Help the dirty motorcycle vagabond. I'm just having him hold those bars so they don't tilt forward and potentially introduce air into the brake line.
What would happen if you did get air in the brake?
I'd have to bleed the brakes, which wouldn't be that big of a deal really, but I'd rather not if I don't have to. Actually, I am going to have to bleed the brakes. I'm due for some new brake fluid. So this is the last bolt. Just keep holding it like that. You're just kind of holding it and making sure it doesn't tilt forwards or backwards.
Okay.
It can go backwards a little bit, but
That's wrenches. Where'd you get that?
that's from a company called Pullback.
Oh.
We don't, unfortunately, the company I work for doesn't make a windshield for it, but we probably should. Old riser block. I got it. Alrighty, I think I can manage from here. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome, Joey.
The squeaking sound told me I needed a longer clutch cable. So now I got the clutch cable disconnected, and I've just kind of been playing with different positions and kind of seeing what feels the best. I think this is pretty good. The clutch cable is not going to work in that position, but apparently a clutch cable off of a Honda CTX 700 will fit this bike exactly, except it's about 4 inches longer. So really that's the only issue I see with putting the bars right there. The brake line's getting a little tight, but I've still got some wiggle room in there with the bars all the way turned. And the wires going to the controls feel all right. They're not too terribly tight. So I went ahead and ordered one of those clutch cables off of a CTX 700, like 30 bucks. I got the OEM coming in a couple of days. So I am going to go back. This is sort of a mock-up trial run. I'm going to go back and put a drop of blue Loctite on these. I have had these loosen up before. All right, next order of business. I'm going to put some handguards on here. I ordered these amazingly for like 30 bucks, Basically injection molded ABS plastic, but they're not really that much more fancy than the GV handguards that were on there. You know, these came on the bike, and looking at them side by side, you really can't tell that much difference. And these GV ones cost about 150 bucks. They got no kind of reinforcement. Neither do these, obviously. But man, for 120 bucks less, can't beat it. So to do this, I'm going to have to pull this mirror off, which sounds easy in theory, but these are actually kind of a pain in the ass. The threads are opposite from what you would think they would be on the bottom of that. So as you thread this one in, it unthreads from the bottom. It takes a little bit of trial and error and messing around with it. While I'm getting in there, I'm going to go ahead and replace these foam grip covers. These are like 10 bucks. Total game changer. I've had these on there for the last 3 years. You can use Gorilla Tape, and that'll keep them going for a while. But I'm just going to go ahead and replace them while I still have everything off. All right, here's the pro tip on these. Get some rubbing alcohol. You could even set these out in the sun for a little bit, get them a little warm and more malleable. Just take your screwdriver like that, dip it in the rubbing alcohol. Been about 3 years since I've done this. But yeah, just kind of work it around. And then once that rubbing alcohol evaporates, it ain't going nowhere. But that gives you just enough lube to get her on there. There we go, on in about 30 seconds. Otherwise, you'd really have to be wrestling with that thing. And these things just make a world of difference as far as not transmitting as much vibration to your hands. All right, let me get the tunes going. Oh, man. Just recently discovered this awesome band called X. I don't know how I ever missed this band. They're a little bit before my time. I swear, almost every song by this band is an absolute banger. They're sort of punk rock crossed with rockabilly. Actually, one of the first probably punk bands, if you wanted to call them that. But really, it's just good American rock and roll. Sorry I can't play it for the video. See if this washer is necessary. It was necessary on the other side. Otherwise, I could not tighten it down. By this time, I'd gotten my longer clutch cable, so I switched to that job while I still had the handguard off the other side. Yep. That looks exactly like the other one, except hopefully longer. So I'm going to just kind of note the way that this clutch cable is routed. Let's see here. All right, yeah, it goes in front of the triple tree right there. Pretty dirty. For replacing the clutch cable, first I loosened the nuts on the engine side, then removed the end of the cable from the bracket and pulled it out of the housing. All right, looks like I got one of these zip ties around the frame right there. Part of the reason I'm even saying that is just so I'll remember where it is, and if not, I'll watch the video. The cable sort of rests and then comes up through this loom right there. Keep a couple of these little picks in there to take these ties off. Basically, you get in here like this, pull the tab down, and you can loosen it that way, take it off. Really come in handy for a lot of different things. All right, there's another one of those ties deep down in there. I can't really reach it, so I'm gonna see if I can slide it out without having to untie it. Hopefully it's loose enough that it'll come out. I wiggled the old cable out and began threading the new one through the same route. In retrospect, a person could probably tie the two ends together and simply pull the new one through, but that would have been way too easy for this video. Before I forget, I took these off just to make it easier to snake it through there. 14 going towards the front of the bike. I then fed the cable back through the housing on the engine side and connected it to the bracket. All right, that doesn't look nearly as long as I thought it would be. One of the things I was afraid of is I was going to have just a ridiculous amount of excess length that might sort of get in the way somehow. Next, I lined up the grooves on the cable adjuster nuts, placed the end of the cable in the clutch lever, and the cable slid right into place. And just like that, she's in there. That looks like it'll work perfect, actually. After getting the cable slack approximately where I wanted it, I tightened the nuts on the engine side, then made the final adjustment at the clutch lever and tightened the lock nut. All right, no squeaking. Everything seems like it's good. I'm liking it. No notchiness, so my neck bearings are still good for now. That won't last forever. And it might be worth pointing out too on this clutch cable, lubing your cable is overrated in my opinion. Then again, I don't really ride in the rain and stuff like that very often, obviously. I've only lubed it once in 42,000 miles. Now, I've been carrying around an extra clutch cable ever since I've had this bike for like 3 years now, and now I don't even need it because I need a longer clutch cable for those risers. So anyway, that's the way it goes. Really quick now, one of the things I almost forgot to mention is that I actually took this off and played around with the idea of moving the brake line within this rubber sleeve, which attaches to this bracket right here. I was not able to slide the brake line through this rubber sleeve because I think it's glued in there. So ultimately what I would have had to do is very carefully take a razor blade, which I don't want to do on a brake line. That just really didn't seem like a good idea. And then I'd have to move it and then glue it back somewhere else. So instead, I actually just took that bolt out. That's an 8mm. And just kind of manipulated the bracket with a pair of pliers until I got it in a more favorable position, where essentially I've got a lot more slack up here on the brake line. So right now it's not a problem at all. Before it was a little too tight, but yeah, just wanted to kind of point that out because it is sort of important if you're putting on a set of pullback risers like this. All right, now that I got that clutch cable on there and everything looks nice and neat, I'll go ahead and finish up this handguard and get that grip cover replaced. Nice to have a nice sharp knife. Thanks to my friend Art for this. It's a beautiful Kershaw. And there we have it. After no small amount of fiddling around with these, finally got those on there. Everything's kind of in place, and I got my Ride Power deal, wireless induction charger. So just in getting these, I mean, I'm just looking for something to get the wind and rocks and bugs and stuff off my hands. Obviously, I'm going to drop my bike, and these things will probably be the first thing to go. It happens, but I don't feel nearly as bad about it because I only paid $30 for these. Okay, at this point, I'm relatively sure this is generally about exactly where I want my bars for now. I'm going to go through and sort of systematically put a drop of blue Loctite on each of these, one at a time, take them out, and the bars should stay in position like this. And just keep these from backing out, because I have had them back out before. All right, now we're on to the next thing. This is something I've been meaning to do for a long time, which is put a set of highway pegs on here. Probably about right there. This was a case of a guy on eBay who just apparently did not know what he had, because these go for about $150 new from most of the retailers. You might be able to find them a little bit cheaper than that here and there. And the guy was selling them brand new in the box for $80. I've had my eye on these for quite a while, and I like them. They're rigid as opposed to being spring loaded. So essentially, once you put them on there, that's the position that they're stuck in. I like that actually, because it gives me a little bit of something else that's going to take the fall before any of this other stuff that I've got on my crash bars. Sort of like having a crash bar extension. Of course, I mean, what's probably going to happen when I drop the bike is that, you know, the clamps are probably just going to move. But nevertheless, it's still taking the brunt of the initial force of impact. All right, man, pretty excited with these things. I think I got them set up more or less where I want them. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Totally changes the feel of the bike. Really, if I can get my handlebars back about right here, I'll be good, I think. But, man, that's just going to be so much better on long trips, just to kick your leg up like that. And then the handlebars are further back, so... yeah, hopefully that'll help. I mean, it's not ideal, but ideally I'd like them about right there. But I don't know, because I was almost thinking what I could do. I've still got those 1-inch riser blocks. And I think the bolts are long enough. I could probably stack the 2 riser bolts on top of each other. But then I've got the issue of the wires. They'd have to be cut and extended. Almost from the very moment I'd hit the road, I knew my life had changed for the better. Foot pegs, absolutely awesome, huge fan. The risers made a world of difference, even though it wasn't that much further back and that much up. Just made a world of difference. I'd still like to ultimately get them back, maybe about another ½ inch. So at some point, I'll probably stack that other set of risers on there and see about extending, getting a longer brake line and maybe extending some of the wires. That's a job for another day. I'm getting ready to head to Las Vegas to work the bagger races. This, by the way, is an Italian restaurant that I used to work at in my early 20s. And no longer in business, unfortunately. Temporarily closed due to staff shortage. Well, it's hard to get people to come out here. This was the pizza side, and that was my oven and my walk-in, pretty much. I mean, it was me and another guy who was kind of my boss. Those were all the trays of the dough. So I would come in the morning, mix up a big batch of dough in the mixer over there, cut each one individually, put them in those tins, and that window over there is actually open to the dining area, so everybody could kind of watch you as you were preparing their pizza, and it was kind of like added an element of show to the whole thing. And so we'd be sitting there making the pizza, taking it in and out of the oven, stretching it out, and yeah, I spent a lot of hours in this room. Usually I'd come to work and put some jazz on, and the owners of the place really liked that. There was a lot of gambling and a lot of hard drinking and partying that took place in this very kitchen. I mean, untold amounts of debauchery, really. And there is the dining area for which it gets its name, Mountain View. Got those beautiful plate glass windows, gorgeous view of the mountains back there. I mean, absolutely incredible. This was hands down the best Italian food in the area for a long time. So at this point, I think I'm going to get back on this wonderful machine and do a little bit more riding, relieve a little bit of stress, and get ready for my trip to Las Vegas. See you in the next video.
Does have some bumps, some areas that can throw your line. So you really got to...
Just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box for anybody that might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.